The side config button is found in this mode at devices that produce some products, so for example this metallurgic infuser. On the contrary, you won't find it on power generators for example. The most important are these 6 buttons, representing a total of 6 sides of the device. We also notice that they have different colors, which correspond mainly to the colors of the frames of the individual slots for input and output materials, products, energy, and so on. When we start working with any of these buttons, we can see that its setting begins to change to input, output, none, extra, and so on. This means that this side of the device will be set to receive items, for example, precisely into the slot with the specified color. Whether it will be items is determined by these tabs on the left, where we can also see energy settings or infuse types. Let's try, for example, to set the device to receive material from the left side into this yellow extra slot. First, let's make sure we're in the Items Config section, and then we'll set the left side of the device. Now we'll place a chest a bit away from the device, where we'll put redstone dust. We'll connect the chest using basic logistical transporters, and at the beginning of this pipeline, using the configurator tool, we'll set the connection type to pull to start sending redstone dust. Now, as you can see, everything works as intended. Also note that if we have a configurator tool, we can also manage side config using it. In the settings, just select one of the categories, in our case for example items, energy, or infuse types, and then just point to the given side and press Shift plus right-click. Now, notice this auto eject button. Thanks to it, you can set the device to automatically attempt to send the product it produces across the network. Let's try it, for example, on producing infused alloy, where we'll leave the auto eject setting it off for now. Again, we'll place a chest and connect it to the device using basic logistical transporters. Now we'll put the device into operation by providing it with the rest of the necessary items, including energy, using a basic energy queue. We see that the infused alloy has been produced, but it's still in the device. Now, let's adjust the settings. Now the product has been automatically sent across the network, and it would be the same with other items. However, if the device is set to auto-eject off, there is a case where the setting will be ignored, and that is when we set the pipe connection type to pull using the configurator tool. This overrides the auto-eject setting, so the products in the device will always be sucked into the chest after production. Side config also contains another button in the bottom right corner, which is clear side config, which sets all sides of the device to none, so the device will not react to anything. This can be useful during the initial configuration if we want to have full control over each side. The transporter config relates to settings oriented according to the colors of network elements such as universal cables, logistical transporters, and so on. As we can see here, the main settings are divided into input and output. In the case of output, there is one button where we can set different colors by right-clicking and left-clicking. Based on these colors, the finished product will be determined to which container with the corresponding color the pipeline will lead if, for example, auto-eject is activated in the side config, and this applies to any side of the device. Let's try it again on this metallurgic infuser, where we want the products to go from its right side to a chest nearby, but only in the case of red or no color, where in the case of branched piping, the nearest container will always be selected for the product to go to, regardless of whether the color is red or none. First, in the transporter config, we'll set the output value to red. Now let's check the side config. That seems to be okay now. So, let's add a chest, connect basic logistical transporters, and let the device produce infused alloy for us. As you can see, even though the red color was set, the product reached the chest through the pipeline, which had no color. Now let's change the color of the pipeline to red. We don't have to color the whole pipeline, just the last part connected to the chest. Now the resulting infused alloy also has been sent to the chest as we wanted. Let's adjust the color, maybe to blue. The product didn't pass through as expected, so everything is fine. Now, if we look at the input values in transporter config, it works very similarly to output, but there are a few differences. Here we can set the color for each side of the device separately. However, the device will ignore the settings unless we set the strict input to on using this exclamation mark button. However, after its activation, the colors will be strictly followed, which means that if the network element is not marked with any color, nothing will be drawn from the container it is connected to, which is a difference compared to the output setting because there it can be either a specific color or none. In the case of factories, we can meet the autosort button. This refers to the input slots. Since factories tend to have more of them, so often after putting material in one slot, we will want to put these things in the others as well and preferably distribute them evenly. And that's exactly what the button does. Most devices also include this 3-state button on the side. You can use it to determine how it will behave with respect to the redstone signal. Let's place redstone dust and a lever next to it. We will add fuel to the generator, and now you can see that even though it is not supported by the redstone signal, the device is still working and producing power. This is caused by this default state called ignored. Now, when we switch the button to the normal state, the device stopped working because it started to be controlled by the signal. So when we activate redstone, it works again. The last state is called inverted. We disabled redstone for it, and as you can see, it works exactly the opposite. So when redstone is not active, the device works, and vice versa. When redstone is active, it stops working. Devices in this mod will also have this 3-phase security button, which determines who has access to the thing. Public means that everyone has access, private only the owner of the device, and in the case of trusted, it is a list of users that we can set using this block called security desk. So if we have a friend, we'll write them into this field, click the checkmark button, and then they'll be added to the list, which applies precisely to the trusted type. You can also remove users from the list using the remove button, and then we have other options on the right side and at the bottom. If we activate security override in the middle right, then on the bottom left, using 3 buttons, we can globally control the security of all our devices, or rather, we can tighten their permissions. So if we have security override set to off, then our heat generator will still have security set to trusted, and the metallurgic infuser next to it will have it set to public, no change. However, if we switch to trusted value in the security desk, then for the heat generator, it's still trusted, but if we try to change this value, we are offered only private or back to trusted. Public has been eliminated. The same thing happened to the device next to it, where the value was public, but now the security has been automatically tightened, and it is trusted. Now, if we choose private in the security desk, both devices will have the value set to private, which cannot be changed in their GUI anymore. Finally, we have 2 buttons for items that may not have an owner, such as a personal chest, which we currently own. When we put it in the top slot, the owner status immediately changes to no owner. But if we put this item in the bottom slot, the object has an owner again, and it will always be us. Thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe so that more such tutorials and guides can be created.